how it was growing up, undiagnosed, autistic female. First word, bloody fucking hard. I hear people talk, even own family members, and say, don't you wish you could be a child, not worry in the world? No, I don't. Because that's not how it was for me. I felt anxious a lot, as far back as I can remember. Particular years that I found really difficult were after about the age of 11. So between the ages of 12 and 15 were really hard for me. I barely talked to anybody in school, especially boys. I never had boyfriends, never. And I used to always say to my mum how upset that made me. And I think I used to write, oh, one day I'm going to be really in love. I was obsessed with the idea of being in love. And just absolutely obsessed with it. I would have crushes on people, don't get me wrong. I had really big crushes on people, especially like in high school when you get to that age. And almost built people up quite a bit in my head, like characters, and starting from a young child, everybody in the household had to be a character from a show. And I used to do something which my family called leaping. I don't know if I gave it the name or they did. Well, that's just what it is. And I'd literally run around like this and that and do it for hours. And if when my family went away places, there must be places where I could leap. Sorry, my boyfriend's broke another pair of eyelash curlers, which I'm really pissed off with his big feet. Not that I can talk because my feet are massive. It was just like, and once I got the diagnosis only last year, and loads of things just like clicked and made sense, and it was like, just little things like that, like idolizing people and not knowing like basic like things and clicking two and two together. There was something the other day and it's like, I couldn't register it. Oh, that's it. So I used to hate myself at the time for this. My first boyfriend that I lived with, bear in mind I didn't got married before this, but the first boyfriend that I lived with at home and got a flat with, I'd have periods where I'd feel like I was really outgoing and periods where I was meek as a mouse, really, if I'm being honest. And this was one of the periods. So, move out, live with my boyfriend. I literally couldn't talk to his friends, and so masking was something I found really interesting. So, say if I was just like playing a game and my boyfriend was there, we'd sit and not talk for hours, and that would be okay. But then if another person came into the situation, I'd realise how weird that is. So this is why I don't say anything public about my relationships anymore, because people are fucking judgmental and it doesn't matter really. But society makes it matter, like things like that, when it shouldn't. But that's just, we can't always help things like that. It's just something that's ingrained. And so if they come round, I'd sit there with a smile on my face. It was very fake. And people knew, like, one of his friends, who ended up cheating on me with, actually, when they left, I heard once time, they left in the car, and I heard them out the window, and they shouted, cheer up, Cherry. And I was like, I knew I was doing it, this was the thing, but maybe I didn't care enough. I didn't like these people. The only people, and that's why I thought so many disorders, I thought I had before that, like autism just never came into play. It did once before I got diagnosed with BPD, which everyone seems to fucking have now, which is bullshit, I'm sorry. A lot of you people don't have it. You might have crippling anxiety in that, but the thing is with that, you have, I don't know. There's just certain things when you grow up with autism where you just know you're not like everybody else. You just know it. And I know that sounds so emo. So, for example, like learning at school, this is another example. That was a relationship example. So, say if someone else came into the situation, I'd do something normal. I'd try to think to do something normal that probably wasn't normal. I probably looked like a weirdo and uncomfortable doing like making a cup of tea, something like that, yeah? But not like reading a book or doing what I would. And when I'd go round to his mum's house, she was an astrologer, ironically, and that's funny because of how into astrology I've got. I just think it's quite ironic. When I go round there, I'd have a cup of tea, and I remember really like my hands shaking as I was picking up the tea, and just really being embarrassed and just smiling and not really saying much. But then once I broke from that relationship, and it wasn't even to do with the relationship, I don't think. So I just went crazy. But maybe it was me. I don't think it's me going crazy. Was it me just expressing who I really was for a while? Drugs have never agreed with me, even though I'm a drug addict. They just don't. A lot of them, they send me absolutely fucking crazy. So I steer clear of anything that's an amphetamine or a stimulant, because even coffee, I just cannot get to grips with it. I just can't. My body can't handle it. My brain can't handle it. Almost like... I know I'm talking a lot about the adult part of it, but that's a big part of it for me. It was like the older years and thinking, oh, actually, something's going on, but what is it? And at school, it was always missed out because I was always borderline. And it's like, that wouldn't have happened now. And at college, it was standing out. And I did like an IQ test. My reading levels were ridiculously young. My visual levels were really good, though. My IQ is probably really low. But I was looking up because I didn't like this word highly functioning autism. I thought it sounded really, and I'm not someone about bias, but I thought it sounded really horrible and I didn't like it. So I looked it up actually yesterday to see what it really is. And I think I actually do have highly functioning autism. It's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what Google and some websites said. It said, basically living independently with it and being able to get through everyday life, which is something I have done for fucking years. But as I've got older, there'll be key periods of my life, like now, because I've added drugs to the mix, I don't think I do have highly functioning. I need to live with someone to be okay. I need to live with someone to be like, right, you need to do this and you need to do that. In relationships, I seem to make people get ill, I swear, and it's a horrible feeling. And like, I'll obviously get with someone who's not probably like 100% well, like I am. So you're not gonna probably be with someone who's like, I don't know, who's normal brackets, because maybe they just don't come in your path, basically. And I kind of think that I'm right there. I don't know what I'm doing here. Someone tell me how to contour properly. So maybe not maybe, it is different with boys and girls, because girls are better at masking, and that's not a good thing. At least, like, I think it's like good maybe if you can't, because then you're showing like who you really are and you're able to get help with that. Because when I got diagnosed with borderline, my mum was like, oh my god, this is so you, this is like someone's wrote a book about you. And I'm not gonna lie, it did feel like that. But as you get older, you realise a lot of us feel like that, but it's just like how often and how not. Like yesterday, I felt fucking amazing for the first time in a long time, But the thing is, when you feel like that, you forget the days that are bad, and vice versa. Like, I'll forget the days that are good, and it's really challenging because you spend a lot of your life talking about your emotions, thinking about your emotions. So as I've got older, in my 30s, like now, I don't even want to talk to family because I don't want to bore them with like how my mental state is. Like, I'm sure people can understand that. And then another thing, people like, oh, you're still using drugs. Why? Because you're going to decide if you don't talk to me or not. No, I'm not even going to disclose this shit anymore because I've been rejected so many times because of that. And yeah, I'm like, I've done bad things for my addiction and that, but I'm not a horrible person because of it. I'm really not. So I don't want to be rejected again. I really don't. How cool are these glasses? I mean, like, I wouldn't really wear them, but I think they look pretty cool with the whole pink look and purple. It's funny, they were talking about, I'm doing like a whole thing here. They were talking about how witching can change your face. If you look at me now, and I don't think I can upload a picture to this now, like halfway through, because I'm recording it on my phone. But my face has changed. I literally will do my face through the years, and you will see like how much it's changed. It's crazy. Light bulb moments. I had one yesterday because I've always wanted to know what my ex-boyfriend's rising sign was because he was adopted, and he's born on the 3rd of the 3rd, being a horrible Pisces male. Yeah. Uh, he wanted to be like, oh, I was born at 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, well, whatever, how do you know that? You just want to think that. And then it just came to me last night, and I thought it came to me really strongly. He's a Capricorn rising. I always thought it could be Aries, possibly Leo because of how we got on. And another one, maybe Gemini. But then it came to me, I thought, he is a Capricorn rising, and there's just no denying it. Because it just, where it put things in his houses as well, it made sense. Like his moon being in the 7th house, and his sun being like in it between his 3rd and 2nd. So, see, I don't get Placidus. I don't get how you can be a Cancer rising, but your sun, no, you're a Cancer rising, Cancer sun, but your sun is in your 12th house. How's it not in your fucking 1st house? Like, if it's the same sign. And how come I've just found out the other day as well that my Jupiter isn't conjunct with my Venus? They're in the same house. Sorry, it's just this is another thing. It takes me a long time to like work things out. So I am a bit spastic. I'm spasticus, autisticus, I'm spasticus, autisticus. Oh, I've been all on a pedal. Sorry. Yeah, a bit of Ian Jury for you, not Ian Brown. He's another good Ian. Some good Ians out there. But growing up as a girl autistic, it seems it is something you get an extremely late diagnosis with, because they want to put girls in the bracket of mood disorders, and they want to put blokes in the category. Another one, like a girl will have BPD, but a man will have PTSD. And this is just a little short video because I'm just going to do like diaries when it feels right, and I should have done it yesterday, but I had to go out and do something. So I'm just going to keep putting this up and explaining when I can how I can do right thing. So thank you for listening, and if you want to add any thoughts, please do.